You hear that? Yeah, it's not loud. I am pretty sure that Loki, my server, overheard me talking about retiring a server, thought I was talking about it, and now has decided to just, well, I don't really know. Is it crashing? I don't know. Let's guess together. Let's diagnose this. Now, I know this thing worked like just earlier this morning before bed. So now I'm waking up just like every normal, after morning Saturday, and it's going through this loop where, wait for it. There you go. So it's going through a loop. I don't know how long it's been doing that, but like I said, right before I went to bed, everything was working. Here's what I've done. Most basic of all, I've basically unplugged all of the power supplies, let it sit for a couple seconds, and then plugged them all back in. Wait a minute. Oh, okay, false alarm. Thankfully, I don't think I ever really screwed this back. So this should, ow! Son of a, come on, there we go. There we go. Ooh. Oh, hello. Let's go down memory lane real quick. This is a fresh-ish rebuild with a 13900. Yeah. Wait. Yeah, 13900. I remember. All right. This threw me off a little bit because I have like 4 sticks of RAM and everything, and I thought I had it in this. But now I remember because I built my Home Assistant server, I put 128 gigs in that one, and then this one, it only has 64 gigs. So that's why there's an offset of RAM. Also, I completely forgot because this is a 13900 and I didn't really need a GPU, that I could remove the GPU, and I've been running that without a GPU. It has an iGPU, which is like more than enough. Now that I remembered what hardware I have, I'm looking around it, I don't see actual codes. And I'm remembering that this is probably only gonna have, status LEDs. Ugh. Oh, okay. This is the Asus Creator Pro Art motherboard. Those status LEDs right there are supposed to blink on what was successful. So it only flashed on the first one, which is the CPU LED. I don't actually think it's making it really. Here's the thing, it's going through this boot up thing where the LEDs on the RAM are lit up, but there's no lights on there. And once it pops on that CPU for just a split second, it shuts down. So I don't know about you. This sounds like power. The reason why I say it sounds like power is because I know that I custom rebuilt this power supply joiner thingy. So it's very possible I messed that up, but also it's not really making it to a BIOS screen. It's not giving me any boot up stuff. It's just, it's spinning up these big old fans that I have in here, and it's doing all this legwork and then failing when it really starts to engage the CPU, which the CPU is gonna start drawing more power. So if for whatever reason it's struggling to meet the power requirements, and then the CPU kicks in, it's like, yeah, give me more. It's like, no, baby. Okay, I'm gonna go with my gut. And I'm going to assume that there's a power issue. And I'm also going to assume that the power issue is probably coming from those big fans right there, just because I have experience with them in my new build where I had to basically run, you see that cable right there? That there? That's coming from this adapter, which is powering 3 fans in the other computer, because for some reason those 3 big fans just kept draining that huge power supply. Now, these things have been running just fine for a while, so I don't know why it would just act up all of a sudden, but I'm just kind of going with that because that's what I've experienced. But hey, I'm going off what I know, and that is nothing was updated, nothing was changed. I don't have any auto updates. I was using it just hours ago before I went to bed, and I got up and it's like broke, and the way it's starting up makes me feel like it's not getting the power it needs to actually initialize boot up. Am I going down the wrong path? Probably, maybe, but let's check. Let me give you a quick rundown of the setup for the fans. See this thing right here? This is like a fan PWM splitter, and I have that connected. So this is really tight as far as there's no room to like work with it too much. I'm gonna go grab a couple extenders probably just so I could like pull it out more. The way I currently have this set up is that I have these 3 really big fans, and then I have a water cooler in there, right? So I wanted water cooling, but I didn't have the room that I wanted in order to make it all happen. So I took the water radiator block, I attached it to this fan bracket, and then I upgraded these to some beefy fans right here, and then I attached that to this. So I don't really technically have a CPU fan and then a chassis fan that's separated. I just more of have really big beefy fans, and I run everything based off of the CPU temperature. So running this thing without one of these fans is basically taking away one of the CPU and one of the case fans all in one. Well, looks like I'm only finding a couple extensions. The rest are like Y splitters or low noise adapters. So it looks like I need to, I have like these 1 to 4 splitters, but these fans take way too much power to split them, which is why I have it set up the way I have it. Or if I go into my storage, what is this? What is this? This is the Meg. I do not, AMD. Oh, that must be the 3900. Okay, so I have more extensions sitting in here. I have a lot of extensions. There we go, perfect. That's a 3. Is that other one a 3? What'd I do with it? There it is. Yep, that's a 3 as well. All right, back to here. I guess you have all my extensions. Look at them. So what this does right here is it connects those two to the motherboard, and then it takes the power and it connects those from a power input, which is going to be connected to a Molex. I don't know if you can see this in here because I can't see it. Oh, here it is. So we got this Molex adapter right here. That goes to that, and that is what feeds this. Now I can just unplug 1 or 2 of those fans, try to boot it up again, and see if my theory is correct. Okay, there we go. Get at least 3 of them plugged in. I won't make you sit through the whole booting sequence. Huh. I'm just gonna unplug this whole thing right here just to see if it's, maybe this went bad. Which obviously I don't want to run this without like a CPU cooler, but side note, that was kind of juicy, crispy when I took it out. This is the power input. I don't know if that's like, I don't know, it looks like melted plastic. That's what it looks like when you get water in something and it starts shorting out and like oxidizing from the electricity in the water. But I don't know I don't know how that would be a thing unless drastic change in temperature. It did get cold here. It's been 90 degrees in the server room, and I just recently had a 30-degree day for a few days and opened the window, and it dropped at like 20 degrees in this room. So I don't want to be that quick. Yeah, this looks like oxidation. This is interesting. I did not expect to deal with that this morning. All right, well, unplug that whole shish kebab, plug in a couple of these, and let's see if it boots up. Still doing the same thing. Okay, here's an interesting angle on this. Look at this. This is the power delivery port. Look how melted that is. Huh. Okay, so it's still going through the thing, and I figured that I could run this off 2, so I went ahead and what my next troubleshooting step is, because these are interchangeable power supplies, if by any chance one of the power supplies are like getting screwed up, I'm gonna unplug 2 at a time, plug in these 2, and then if that doesn't work, unplug these 2 and plug in these 2. And then I'm gonna see if it'll boot up off just 2 power supplies. In which case, it might just be a dead power supply, and that is still a problem, obviously, but the problem might just be a power supply. I'm troubleshooting this like as I go. So like if you guys have a better idea of what you think I should do or should have done, let me know. I can tell you one thing though, having that window open is amazing because it is so much like bearable in here. Still doing the same thing, so switching power supplies. Well, in a desperate attempt to be right the first time, I guess, I'm gonna unplug 3 of these power supplies and see if this thing will boot off just 1, because it's still doing the exact same thing. And, damn it. All right, well, none of that worked. Which means I'm either still right, but it's the power distribution, block, which is what takes the power from all those power supplies and puts them all into one and then distributes them to all the rails that it has within the system. This is the thing that I took apart, desoldered a bunch of, and resoldered back together manually myself, which has worked fine and is totally overbuilt for the amount of power that it was requiring, but it is possible that that maybe now has problems. Just seeing the header for the fan melted makes me think of that a little bit more, but I'm not really sure. Obviously, I don't want to like tear down the entire PC chassis and rip into all that distribution block, so the step after that would be basically plug in an external power supply, which is really just, you know, doing extra work to confirm that the work you have to do is what you have to do before you do it. If that makes sense. Problem number one is usually I can go in and like my spare power supplies and find a power supply to test it out with, and then I just realized I don't think I have any power supplies available. So this board needs an ATX. It needs this 6-pin, which is like a PCI header, I think. I'm not really sure. I remember there was something with this, so I have to go look at see what I got. And then I also need over here, I need an 8-pin and a 4-pin. And the only reason why I'm checking this is because I have one power supply that's super old that might work as a test. And that's the one that's literally still sitting here from last New Year's that I built, that has an old rose wheel power supply. I don't even know how many watts it is. I mean, it's like ketchup and mustard cables and everything. So before I rip this out of here, I got to make sure that I have enough or the right connections to even use it. So I do know it has the 6 and the 4, or the 8 and then the 4 right there, and the ATX, but I don't know if it has the proper 6. This oval, oval, square, square, oval, oval. Yeah, so this might be it. This crappy old power supply might be it. Whoa, man, this thing is beefy. This is Rosewell Extreme RX 850. Wow, not even like a hint of modularity. Modularity. Man, that just like screams 20 years old. It looks so terrible. Oh man, looks like an octopus or something just like coming in there and just like strangling it and taking it over. But got everything plugged in, at least the essentials, and hard drives won't boot up. There's be no fans running, but if I plug this in and this thing powers up, then I know I have something power related for sure. See what happens. Dun 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 dun. Dun dun. What'd I miss? Shit. Well, that did not work out at all. Like, I am just getting zero power. Nothing. No boot up, no nothing. I unplugged everything, plugged everything back in, nothing. I'm getting nothing. Just dead as a doornail. That should have worked. Like, I just booted up that computer in there when I robbed an SSD out of it. So I know that the power supply worked. So either there's a generational mispinning of this power supply versus what my motherboard takes, or maybe this power supply is dead, or maybe I'm just doing something wrong. I have no idea, but this is not working. All right, to try to at least get back to my last save point, I plugged in all the original cables, then plugged in one of the power supplies, and then going to turn that on, see if this thing shows signs of life. Okay, there it goes. So something was weird with plugging in that other power supply because it should have at least done that. Okay, got some life. I just tried the far right, and I plugged 2 fans into the motherboard. Wait a minute. This is the most frustrating part about PC diagnostics. Whoa. It's booting. It's booting. Son of a bitch. So now I have to ask myself what in the world went wrong. I think a power supply went wrong, and I don't know why it didn't work the way I had it before, where it was like I tried 2 of them out of the 4 instead of just 1 of them worked. I have no idea why it went like this. Okay, booted up, but half the hard drives are missing. I'm gonna try a different set of 2, see if it boots. Huh. So I've been plugging like mix matching plugs, and half the drives have been gone. And now they're all gone. Just gone. Look at that. Just gone. Not gonna lie, I'm kind of like in a full panic mode because is this a problem with getting power to the drives, or was it a power surge problem of some sort, or something fried the actual drives? Powered it back down because I'm gonna swap more stuff around, but basically the drive trays obviously are going to be underneath those drives, and then the power form is going to be buried down there. So in order for me to get to the actual plugs, I have to take out all of this. Like I have to take it all apart, essentially. I have to take out the motherboard, I have to take out everything just to be able to unplug or replug the drives. But if I'm going to do all that, then I'm basically going all the way down to the distribution point anyway, which means I'm going to have to, I don't know. Like I guess I'm gonna have to go and tear it apart and check it, everything. Like check all the things. Pretty much I'm just gonna have to do like a continuity check for all of it and see what went wrong. Or look for the wires that are fried, because if something did get fried, then it might be obvious. I'm not entirely sure how I got here, but here's where I'm at right now. I woke up with a power loop. It wasn't booting, right? It kept going on and off. So then I started unplugging and plugging in various power supplies because there's 4 of them. Now, all 4 of these work in conjunction with each other. They work side by side. You plug them all in, they all supply power. They got the 12 volt and the 5 volt rails. Through combination of different power supplies, I end up getting it to boot up. Originally, or first thing that I got to boot up was half the drives. I don't know if it's exactly half, but let's just say half. Half the drives. Which actually that would make sense, because I'm pretty sure one rail there's 2 back planes in there. So yeah, it was probably half the drives. And then I go around and mess around with different variations of the power supplies, and now all the drives are gone. I just went through and I just plugged in other power supplies, different combinations of power supplies. Now more of the power supplies are booting the computer up regularly. However, every single boot, no drives. So here's my theory. And I'm kind of freaking out because it would really suck. My theory is that there's some kind of short, overload or something that caused the rails going to the backplanes to short out, and that was causing it to boot loop, because whenever it was drawing power or whatever, it sent it into a short out boot, like shutdown, right? And then it did that over and over and over again until I woke up and I'm like, oh, let's start messing around with it. Then I started plugging stuff in, other ones, like other power supplies that introduce different variations of what rails are connected, right? I start plugging other ones in, and then let's say I just completely shorted out or fried one of the boards and it lost connection. Maybe I burnt up a wire or something, I don't know. And then I got it to boot up. And then I kept messing around with it, trying to get the other drives to boot up, and then I got the other one fried. So now it'll boot up more consistently, but none of the drives are connected. So I either fried both my back planes, or all of my hard drives, or both my back planes and all of my hard drives, or just burnt up a wire and, you know, I'm one solder away from fixing everything. Either way, no drives are showing up. And that's where I'm at. And now I gotta work up the energy, courage, tenacity to take it all apart, desolder everything, resolder, test, whatever, all the rails, all the power distribution system, and kind of hope that I didn't lose all of my drives. My heart is kind of sunk right now because I don't know how bad it is, and it's going to take forever to figure out. So many drives, you know what I mean? I have 48 drives in there, 48. It's hundreds, like it's half a petabyte worth of storage, right? It's like 500, 480 or something. I don't remember now. It's stupid amounts of storage, you know? If the motherboard and CPU were fried, that would suck, you know? $1,000, whatever it cost, right? That would suck, but that would not be like, oh my God. Like I have stuff around the house I could fix that with, you know? But if 48 drive, like I have this sinking feeling in my gut, like I just lost my dog or something. I don't know what to do about that. I'm terrified.